Thank you.
Welcome to BFF News.
We are hearing that clouds of fragrance are gathering over barns, and locals have been warned not to panic.
You'll be hearing more in my weather report later.
Good morning. In case you've forgotten, I'm Suzy Nightingale.
And I'm Nicola Bonn.
And here are your Barnes Fragrance Fair headlines of today's noseworthy news.
Barnes braces for a scent tsunami as Alice Duparc and Suzy Nightingale round up fragrant faces at 11. Locals warned excessive fabulousness may cause spontaneous jazz hands and uncontrollable sniffing.
Also at 11 a.m, Sarah McCartney urges people to make sense. Witnesses from last year's session report a suspicious number of locals leaving with eau de barns and smiles.
Roger Dove's ingredients experience at 12:30 promises to reveal the secrets behind the scents. Attendees are invited to discover the magic and mystery behind the bottles. Apparently, no unicorn tears have been discovered, but we'll wait further updates.
And this just in, apparently men smell. Hayden will be investigating scientists are divided.
And at 2 p.m, Sarah McCartney returns for a second round of scent making. Double the fun, double the fragrance, double the inspiration. Participants asked to bring spare noses.
Olga leads scented walks around barns at 2 p.m, and side effects include spontaneous sniffing, hedge hugging, and everyone smelling great.
And Josephine Fairley's So You Think You Know Rose workshop is set to ruffle your petals at 3 p.m.
Sally Hughes and Alice Duparc present A Life in Scents at 4. Expect nostalgia, laughter, and tales of teenage scent experimentation. Tissues are not provided.
Sorry. I shouldn't be laughing. And finally, a public service announcement. All noses must be on high alert, spritz responsibly, and remember, no sniffing strangers without consent.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, we are very lucky to have some very special guests with us today, and I would like to welcome to the stage Hayley Mills. Thank you. Thanks so much. Now, Hayley is a local resident of Barnes, I believe. You can move the microphone, don't worry. Limbo in. And I believe you're a local resident.
I am, yes. Very happily, gratefully so.
Gorgeous, gorgeous area, yes, which we are so enjoying visiting.
Yes, it's wonderful.
It is. Now, Hayley Mills, I'm sure you all know, she has been an actress since you were a little girl in films such as Pollyanna, The Parent Trap, Whistle Down the Wind, Tiger Bay, huge success on stage and screen. And we happen to know, as if we couldn't love Hayley enough, she is also one of us. She is a fragrance fan. Hallelujah. Hayley, yeah. I believe, how long have you been a fragrance fan, first of all?
All my life.
Good.
We like that. Well, I mean, when you say all your life, what's your first fragrant memory?
Devon violets.
Oh.
Devon violets. My sister had a tiny bottle of Devon violets, and it was such an extraordinarily unique and old-fashioned smell. And I've never I don't know if they still make it.
I think you still can get it. Yes, yeah. Often in sort of old pharmacies and
very
and
old.
Sort of, yes.
I think I was 10. 10. And then, of course, my mother always smelled wonderful. One's mother always smelled wonderful, didn't she? And her perfume was a big thing in my life. I can remember her sitting at her dressing table and getting ready to go out at night and spraying Shalimar or Bleue all over, Guerlain. She loved Guerlain.
Yes. And it's that glamour, isn't it? It's
Yes,
the glamour,
yes.
and you feel, I want to be part of this world.
Yes, and this extraordinary thing, the relationship one has with perfume, that I can't really go out anywhere, even if I'm going to go stick some plants in pots. I can't go out the house if I haven't put on perfume, Perfume and mascara are two absolute
I'm with
musts.
you on that.
Yes.
Going back to your mother, did you ever used to steal her fragrances when you were younger? Or not steal, just borrow.
Yes, I'd do a quick squirt of La Bleue, but it always seemed, it didn't seem right because that was her.
Yes.
That was her smell, and I couldn't walk around masquerading as my mother. And so then eventually, I suppose, one went on a sort of smelly journey to find the thing that you loved. And I mentioned to Amanda that one of the first serious smells that I fell for was a perfume called Zibeline.
Yes.
Do you remember Zibeline?
Is it Weil or Weil?
Yes.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
She has a good knowledge, this one.
Yes, that's right, Suzy. Oh, that's so clever of you. And do you think it's still around? Is it?
I don't think so.
No.
I do have a little vintage bottle, unfortunately empty, but it's a miniature one that I wear on a ribbon around my neck.
Oh, really?
Which is why I happen to know that.
Yes, that's wonderful. I loved it. And then I think I moved on from Zibeline to Rive Gauche.
Yeah. And what did you, when you
Saint
wore Rive Gauche, how did that make you feel? Because that was quite kind of forward-thinking and modern.
I think that was the 60s, 70s, late 60s, early 70s. It made me feel kind of cool, I have to say.
It is a classy, cool fragrance.
Yeah, I really loved that and wore that for years. And actually, I was in Los Angeles last year, and my sister took me to a perfume store, and I asked if he had Rive Gauche, and he did.
Yes.
And I was thrilled. I gave it to my daughter-in-law because my son is a rock star, and I thought it was rather appropriate.
Yes, that is appropriate.
Yes.
How have you used fragrance in your acting? Because I know that some actors like to adopt a role and then use a fragrance to help them get into character. Is that
That's a
something
very, very interesting question, and I always find a perfume for the character that I'm playing. I never use the same one. Well, I may have done, but they're separated by roles. That's terrible. I couldn't possibly go on stage having sprayed myself with my own perfume.
No.
Do you think it would be a bit like that feeling of I'm wearing my mother's
Yes,
fragrance?
totally.
Otherwise,
Absolutely. It would be completely wrong. It would throw me dreadfully.
What's your process? So you've got a new role. How do you then match the fragrance to the character?
I just smell a lot of different ones. And I think I'm sort of guided towards certain things I have in mind. The last play that I did was The Best Exotic Marigold Hotel, and we were on tour for 16 months. It was a long time. Wow. And I knew right away when I was rehearsing that I would have to wear Miss Dior. That was right for that character.
It just fitted.
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. So it's wonderful, it gives you a character immediately. My dad was a wonderful actor. He would get the shoes. He'd get the shoes right, and that would... I don't think he bothered with the perfume, but he got the shoes.
And in a way, I feel like fragrance it gives you that grounding. You know who you are when you're wearing that fragrance, and it's the starting point.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
And it's for you as well.
Yes.
I mean, obviously, your fellow actors can smell it, but it grounds you in that role.
It does. You're very wise. Absolutely right. Yes.
When you've taken on a role, do you sometimes find it hard transitioning back from that fragrance back to you? And do you have a fragrance that instantly is you? So you're like, now I'm out of that role, now back to me.
Yes.
And what's that?
For many, many, many years, it's been The One by Dolce Gabbana. And I've tried, and actually I'm getting much better at being open and adventurous. But for a long time, I tried to wear other perfumes, and it just didn't work.
Just wasn't right.
Just didn't work.
But again, I feel like if you're not wearing the right perfume, it feels like you've borrowed someone else's shoes.
Yes.
They don't quite fit properly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. You know, and then there's the perfumes that I'd love to wear, but they don't work on me, like 1,000.
Yes.
Patou, is it Joy?
Yes.
And I can't wear those. Like, I can't drink whiskey. I'd love to, but I can't.
We'll take you out afterwards, Hayley, don't worry. I would love to know, is there a fragrance that you reach for if it's not your everyday fragrance, but you need some extra confidence that day? You want to wear something that really makes you feel good?
Well, it's interesting because I would have said no a couple of years ago. But recently, funny enough, talking about whiskey, I was visiting my brother in Scotland. And he lives in a town called Auchterarder. And in Auchterarder, near Auchterarder, is a whiskey distillery called Turret's. And they make this wonderful Turret's whiskey. And it's right by a beautiful babbling brook. Clear waters are used with the whiskey and everything. And there is a point to this story.
I'm there. I'm there in my mind.
I discovered that it had recently been bought by Lalique.
Well, who knew? Lalique have a whiskey sideline.
So my sister and brother and everybody, they were all sampling the whiskey, which I don't like.
As one does.
And I wandered off and discovered not just beautiful glass images and things, perfume. Oh. There was all their perfume. So I sampled all their smells, and that's my new passion. Oh. Lalique.
Into
Absolutely
Lalique.
love it.
I feel like we need a road trip to this whiskey distillery.
I know. And who knew that Lalique...
Yes.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Beautiful bottles for fragrance and whiskey.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
Gorgeous. Well, Hayley, thank you so much. I mean, we could just talk to you forever. We've already said we need to get Hayley on for the full podcast because, we could be here for the rest of the day talking to you about fragrance, I think.
I would love to talk to you all day about fragrances.
Bless you.
Pick your brain. Thank you very much. It's been a
you,
pleasure
Hayley.
talking
Thank you so
to you.
much.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Well, we've had Hayley, and if that wasn't enough, we have someone else as a guest.
I
as well.
know.
It's just unbelievable. So here we go. We're going to ruthlessly steal the fragrance. Oh, he's very keen.
Oh, he's on.
We haven't told him to come up yet.
Just try and stop him.
You too.
So this is the Fragrance Foundation's bio. Here we go. An industry veteran with a contagious passion for advocating and amplifying the world of fragrance and its welcoming community. Chris Yu is a leading entrepreneur and board member of the Fragrance Foundation UK. He has worked alongside such notable names as Francis Kurkdjian, Olivier Polge, Lynn Harris, Sophie Labbé, Dominique Ropion, and fortuitously enough, first met his business partner, Laurent Delafont, is that how you say it? Laurent Delafont, in the Liberty Perfumery department. And together they set up the incredible house of Austin's, which we adore. And whose fragrant wares you can explore at the fair today. A big welcome, Chris Yu.
Thank you. Did you write that, Suzy? Because I'm like, that sounds great. I wish someone could announce me like that.
Fragrance Foundation.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Chris. We adore Chris. I mean, he is just one of the biggest supporters generally of the fragrance industry. He comes to all the events, even rival houses. And you're just always relied upon to be supportive of everyone, from the customers, behind the scenes, the perfumers. And you really have done pretty much everything that you can do in the fragrance world?
No, almost, but I think that's because I'm the world's biggest perfume nerd. So I am one of you. I still go to the airport 3 hours early just to sample perfumes at duty free this is my world, and like today is like Mecca for me. This is Comic-Con
We are here
for
to
perfume.
worship.
I
Let
jumped
us
up
pray.
when you said my name because I'm so excited. I couldn't sleep almost last night. So
Where did this all start? This nerdery.
When did your nerd?
When did your nerdery?
I'm just like,
by
I'm
the
a
way,
bit
just to say,
offended.
Chris's collection of fragrance is unbelievable. Like, it is. You could just spend a whole day looking.
yeah,
It's like a museum.
I keep saying the number 10,000 bottles, but that was a few years ago that I started saying 10,000. So I
Yeah.
think I need to revise that number.
There does come a point when you stop counting.
Yeah, you have to stop counting. It gets a bit embarrassing.
There is also concern within your peers that maybe your shelving will fall down soon. We're quite worried.
Every time we show a picture of it, we get little comments saying, I hope those shelves are supported from beneath. Extra bolster.
What practical perfume
Very
people.
practical.
But anyway, yes, why? Why perfume, Chris?
I'd love to say that there was a exact moment, but my mum's a florist.
Okay.
And a gardener, a very keen gardener, and she ran multiple florists when I was growing up. And so I guess if I traced it back to somewhere, it was the fact that she would yell to me as a child to go grab something from the fridge, the flower fridge, and it would be the Latin name of something. And I guess at that point, certain things cemented, and I was around fragrance. But that is a story that has been told to me. I don't quite remember that, but it must have had a bearing on the fact that I just love fragrance. But for me, perfume is one of the only things in the world where it's emotional. Makeup, you can see the color, in the whole beauty industry, there's things that change physically when you use them. But perfume is personal and it's emotional, and I think I kind of connect with the fact that, that makes it special.
Yeah, it really does. And I think today, wandering around Barnes, in the Barnes Green Centre, it's one of those things that strangers connect over fragrance like nothing else. Because if you tell someone, still I think the greatest compliment you can get is, you smell
amazing.
Yes, I do. Thank you for noticing.
Second only to, well, no, I think that's probably the best, but your house smells amazing.
Yes.
That is amazing.
But do you tell or do you gatekeep what you're wearing?
No, I always
We tell.
tell.
Yeah.
Always tell. I mean, as if we could gatekeep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If anyone gatekeeps, please stop doing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. Now, Chris has the most incredible. You've been a guest on the podcast. We definitely need you back for parts 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You have got the most incredible anecdotes of working with the rock stars, basically, of the fragrance world. Now, they are rock stars now.
Well, to me they are,
celebrated.
yeah.
I mean, everyone they are. I mean, for example, you have a story about Francis Kurkdjian's Maison Francis Kurkdjian, Baccarat Rouge.
Oh, this is embarrassing, this story.
This is an
Really?
amazing story.
It's amazing. And the phrase you used was the guy who turned down the Beatles. Explain, Chris.
It was almost exactly 11 years ago this month that I was working with Francis Kurkdjian to launch his brand here into the UK, and we were sitting in the Plaza Athénée lobby, and he pulled out a vial and sprayed it and said, "Can you tell me what you think of this? It's a perfume I'm working on for Baccarat." And, I smelled it and I went, "Oh, I don't know, Francis."
That was also my
I'm
reaction.
like, I'm not sure. This is not really you. And maybe you could do this. And I'm basically sitting in front of like the most brilliant technician of all time, telling him what I think he should do, which is like telling a mechanic, how to fix your car. And I just am so embarrassed that I almost convinced him to go back to the drawing board with Baccarat Rouge 540, and now
Imagine.
it's the icon that it is. So never listen to me, don't trust me, just wear what you like.
Wow.
Okay, if I said the words Dominique Ropion and roses, what would you say?
Oh, he is, first of all, he's the loveliest man. He's very, very unassuming and very quiet.
Isn't he?
Yeah, and I love that energy. I'm quite loud, and I like loud people and loud friends. Here we are. And so I'm quite drawn to that quiet power. And I've always dreamed of working with him, and I never in a million years did I think that my very, very first perfume for Austin's would be made by Dominique Ropion. And it was purely by chance. We were visiting IFF, the perfume house, and walking down the hall with Olivier Polge, and he introduced us to Dominique Ropion, and we had just been to Shalimar in Grasse, and we'd smelt the raw materials. They're here today, so come at 3 o'clock to the workshop with Joe Fairley, and I was waxing lyrical about this rose that I'd smelt from Esparta, from one side of one hill, which is amazing when you think about the purity of ingredients, to Dominique. And of course, he was very French, and he said, "But of course." And I'm like, "Well, I didn't know about Shalimar until now. I'm glad you do." And I just thought, what would you do with this? And just as a throwaway comment. And he said, "Well, you're back in a month, right?" And I said, "Yes, I'm back in a month." And goes, "Leave it with me." And I walked away in this hallway going, did I just get told by Dominique Ropion that he would make me a perfume? Did anyone witness this? Because
Did you skip down the corridor whooping?
Oh, I was a bit starstruck. I get very seldom in my life am I lost for words, and that was one. And I'm a big sucker for talent. I always say I fall in love with talented people all the time. And someone like him, it was just a bit like overwhelming. And now I'm very lucky to get to call him a friend. So very, very grateful for that.
I once interviewed Dominique Ropion in his office, and he passed me something to smell, and I don't know what it was. And he said, "What do you think?" And suddenly all words left me, and I said, "It's very nice." Great, perfect, brilliant, Suzy. Absolutely brilliant.
Lucky you didn't tell him to reformulate like I did with Francis.
The thing is, though, maybe it was a test. So he wouldn't do that. He wouldn't do that. I mean, there are so many.
There are so many. I mean, for example, let's throw another name into the mix. Olivier Polge.
Yeah.
Chanel.
I mean, so Olivier came to you for advice. He hadn't heard the Francis Kurkdjian story.
Thank God.
Yeah, thank goodness. Yeah. We had worked with Olivier Polge for the first fragrance for the home collection for Fornasetti. And it was his first time doing home fragrance, and his only time doing home fragrance. He's never ever made another candle ever again. So I feel very honoured that he created this fragrance, which is such an icon and such a favourite of so many people. And through that relationship, we became close. And I remember him coming to me and saying, "My dad asked me to join his company." And I went, my dad. Yeah, I'm like, I'm sorry, you talked about Chanel, like my dad asked me to join him at work, like it's some father-son day. And he said, I'm not sure. And so we talked about, I guess for him, and this is the lovely thing about it, like we think of these perfumers as these famous, amazing, great people, but he was worried about following in the footsteps of his father and the legend that Jacques Polge had created. And at that moment, I really felt for him because, in some ways, it is such a, big shoes to fill. He's done an amazing job, by the way, so far. He's really made it his own.
He's doing all right.
Yeah.
See, everyone comes to you. I mean, Suzy, do you need to ask him any advice? Anyone in the audience?
Don't worry, we've already got a lunch plan.
That is true, actually.
We're just going to go have a nice lunch, but actually I'm going with my notebook.
Yeah,
absolutely. He is a brilliant person to give you. I think you're good at delivering the truth, what you actually think, kindly, which is always nice.
Do I look okay?
You look beautiful.
But see, we love him. We love him so much. I know.
Yeah, you're amazing. Have we got time for one more story? I think we have. So we've got here... This is your life.
This sounds amazing, by the way.
Taking Lynn Harris, Roger Dove, Joe Malone and Linda Pilkington of Ormond Jane fame on a road trip.
Oh. I don't have children because of that. Oh my God, the 5 of them in a van in Istanbul. Oh. When are we getting there? I need to go to the toilet. I'm really thirsty. It was like herding cats.
Who was the naughtiest?
I don't know if I should say.
Yeah, you could whisper it.
Because they are coming today.
Oh, okay.
Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Who do you think is the biggest diva of them all?
I think they were all naughty in their own special ways.
Oh, but it's so much fun, and I think when we all get together, we are in some ways competitors. We have brands that compete on the same shop floor for your dollars, but it's always a great time when we get together because it's very rare. Like today, it's really rare, and so it's really special, and it really makes you realize that the fragrance community is truly a community. Like the moment you sit next to a stranger on a bus or at a dinner party and you realize you both like perfume, like ignore us, we're just going to chat for the rest of the night.
It's funny because it feels like it makes sense to be in a church hall because there's the community spirit of fragrance. I feel like if something went wrong in any of our lives, we've got each other, which is, I've never known that really.
And you know, things like sharing and you talk about advice and things like that. So the most generous people are perfume people. And first of all, the most generous is Amanda Carr, who's brought all of us together today.
Can we have a huge round of applause for Amanda Carr? No, don't duck. We can see you.
We need to do this a lot today, and she's going to get more and more embarrassed.
She will.
I think,
She'll hate us.
She's literally hiding.
Yeah.
But the most generous people are perfume people, because once you know someone is into the same thing, you'll be like, I'll send you a decant, I'll make you a sample. And this is stuff that we've paid our money, hard-earned money for, but you're willing to share it with others. And I think that just tells you everything about perfume people.
Nicola gave me her bottle of Le Lion. I think slightly regrets it, but
I don't regret it at all.
You're not getting it back, sorry.
Alice in the front there, she phones people with work. She's like, oh, do you want to do this job actually? And people are so kind. It's amazing, yeah.
It is such a sharing. Like all of those people in Barnes Green Centre today know each other. If they haven't met before, they will be firm friends at the end of the day because we are supportive of each other. This isn't like the halls in a department store where you pretend that no other brands exist. We're constantly recommending other brands, even if you own a brand, and say, actually, I've got exactly the fragrance for you. They're over there, the other side of the hall.
And everyone in this audience is absolutely part of the family.
You are.
Yeah.
You are a fragrant family.
Okay, we've got quickly. I mean, I think the road trip that could be a whole podcast in itself. I'm sure.
I can assure you, even if we can't broadcast it, Nicola and I will be asking a lot more questions about that road trip.
Yeah, and then we'll do maybe like a kind of special expensive Patreon offer, £100.
How much would you hear for the gossip?
Or just DM me. It's fine. I'll tell you.
I really want to know about this because I'm smelling more and more K fragrance, and you went on a trip to discover. What's happening over
it's my new obsession. So you know that every generation there's a wave of influence. Like the oud influence came from the Middle East in the sort of late 90s, early 2000s. And I truly believe the next wave to come to the Western world and taste is Korean fragrances. If you haven't heard already, there's been a big splash just a couple of weeks ago with a Korean brand purchased by L'Oreal, Born to Stand Out, that launched into the UK. They've got some, I've smelled a lot of things in my 25 years in fragrance. I smelled their perfumes and I was shocked. Sometimes in a bad way, sometimes in a good way. But I love that a brand still manages to shock me. Yeah. But I'd come back from Seoul about a month ago, and I'm so excited about just this different viewpoint on fragrance. It's culturally completely different from what we understand here. And I'm Asian, so I thought I kind of knew what they would be doing over there. But it's not all this pretty light, roses that we keep getting told that the Chinese audience like these light fragrances.
Yeah, but I was going to say that's such a stereotype, isn't it? We were always told in the fragrance world, oh, don't even bother stocking that.
It's too strong.
It's too strong, they won't wear it. And now, if you smelled some of those Born to Stand Out fragrances, they are room rockers, a lot of those.
Yeah. I think what I really distilled from it is that they're not bogged down with 1,000 years of French aristocratic history. So they just made stuff that they like. So there was a lot of incensey smells, a lot of wood smells, and women wearing wood. And I know it's 2025 and we shouldn't talk about gender, but they were unbound by those rules. And I think we while we have a lot to celebrate from the French and Italian history of perfume, we're slightly bound by it here in the UK. So keep an eye out, and I urge you to try all the new Korean fragrances that are launching here into the UK.
How exciting.
Oh, so exciting. Thank you so much for being our guest and for being here and for your amazing brand, Oster's, and people can go and discover it.
My last thing to say is congratulations on your award last week at the Jasmine's.
Thank you so much.
And I checked with Joe Fairley. It makes you, Suzy, the most decorated of all time award winner.
All-time great.
So it's an honour to be here. Thank you, guys. Love you both.
Thank
you so
Chris.
much.
Amazing.
So as promised, we have a scented weather forecast. This is serious, okay? This is really serious.
Yeah, take it seriously, guys.
What
Okay.
would be the theme tune for weather? Do-do-do-dum-bum. Bum. Right.
Great.
This morning, expect clouds of rhubarb with fluffy lemon tops. By the way, you have to guess the brands I'm referring
There's
to.
no prize, but
There's
just
no
play
prize,
along.
yeah. And the odd shower of Hungary water. As we move into mid-morning, the sun will become increasingly gilded with a definite sense of tropica in the air. But don't fear, the beautiful surroundings of Barnes will remain verdant like a lupin meadow. As the source of heat intensifies, don't be surprised if there's a pyroclasm of bass notes that will leave a true impression on our patchouli hearts. Later this evening, lunar dust will shimmer through the air with a dash of floral smoke. All in all, it will be an ultra wonderful day.
Oh, dear.
Sometimes she
Anyway.
looks at me like that and she's just like, oh, how did I end up with this one? By the way, I will add at this point that poor Suzy had to share a bed with me last night, and I've learned a lot about my sleep habits.
Yep. Yeah, interesting.
Interesting night.
Now, we have some of your fabulous, we get the best listener questions, don't we? I
Yeah.
mean, incredible. We couldn't answer them all here. I don't know how many we can answer, but we are going to go
Where are
through
we
some of
at?
your perfume prescriptions.
Here we go. Right. Shall I read Felicity's?
Yes.
This is from Felicity Winter. I would love to hear if you have any suggestions for a good replacement for a discontinued beauty pie scent called Angelique's Letters. I have 2/3 of a bottle that I'm clinging onto, but it won't last forever. It is described as an uplifting burst of lemon and bergamot that mellows into warming cinnamon and jasmine, settling into a whisper of sweet tobacco and an exhale of smooth vanilla musk. I love how this instantly calms me and makes me feel like I am sat in a wood-panelled library, indulging in a quiet afternoon of reading a favourite childhood novel, whilst also looking outside through a large window to a peaceful countryside scene. It's like being in Barnes. The opening is fresh and vibrant, but it settles into a deep, calming scent. They now sell this as a room spray, but I'm hoping I can avoid resorting to dousing myself in room scent when my perfume bottle runs out. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know why they've done that. Have we got any insight on that, Alice? No. Don't worry, I'll come to you later. Sometimes they bring it back. Okay. Because it says on when you look up the room spray, it says, because our fragrance was so popular, we've now brought out a room spray, and then they discontinued the fragrance. Anyway, we'll have a word with Beauty Pie. But in the meantime, I always say, when we get a lot of questions like this of people asking for, my favourite fragrance is now discontinued, what can I replace it with? And I always say, kind of nothing. But that isn't the end of the answer, don't worry, nothing, sorry. Because it is so specific, those scent memories that we have. And if it is a complex fragrance, something that can't easily be reconstituted or recreated, it is so specific that I would love to be able to recommend something that is exactly the same, but there isn't that. And we're not going to mention the word dupe.
Did you just say...
I said dupes.
So by the way, for people who've never heard the podcast, if you say the word dupe to Suzy...
It's a trigger word for me.
She gets a bit cross. So
Little bit cross. Okay, we're not going to talk about them. But therefore, my suggestions are always, I want to give you something that I feel is in the same emotional family as that fragrance. It's hopefully going to make you feel similar, and that may may replace in your heart, it may take up that space. So the one that I thought of was Maya Njie's Siren, because it is a mixture of that sort of beautiful jasmine note and the woody mossiness. I don't think it's got tobacco in it, but there's that sort of nuzzly wood coziness with the floralcy. So you get the beauty of the jasmine, but you also get the coziness and that feeling of that wood panelled room. But through the window is open, the sunlight is streaming through, you can see the wild jasmine outside, you get a waft of that coming through the window with the light and the breeze, but mostly you're surrounded by that woody, nuzzly, cosy feeling. So I would really recommend. It's also a limited edition. She is bringing. I have told her that I am recommending this fragrance. So we're basically, with my talk with Alice later as well, we have had to let the brands know and say, P.S. you may want to bring some extra, because there was a little bit of a problem last year, wasn't there, Alice, of people going, I couldn't get that fragrance because it had sold out. So we have pre-warned. But I would say Maya Njie has some gorgeous. There's all sorts of beautiful fragrances where I think she's brilliant at marrying a sense of floralcy but grounding it in woodiness and warmth, which I love.
Yeah.
Which we love.
We love.
Thanks, Maya.
Siobhan Harrison. Hello, can't wait to see you both on Saturday. And I'm bringing my partner, he of the Dirty Cowboy prescription.
This was our Christmas event.
Yes, it was indeed. Once we started sniffing around on your recommendation, his mind opened with new experiences and characters he'd like to smell of. Get ready, guys. So here's another one. Sorry.
I know.
I just love this guy.
Serious.
After doing an axe making, where are you?
There they are.
After doing an axe making course recently, his new fragrant idea
Sorry, can we just... Sorry. We're just passing over that like that's completely normal. An axe making course. Okay, continue.
Can I tell you why I didn't stop at that? Because he wants to smell. He wants the smell of a sexy blacksmith.
Now...
Particularly coal, hot metal, cigarettes, booze, and soil. Any ideas welcomed, and thank you for opening his mind, to the world of fragrance.
Round of applause for that. I'm sorry. That is a bloody excellent question. This is the standard we like. I happen to have the perfect fragrance, obviously I do, but what a life you lead, you two. What
I'm
a
so
fascinating
jealous.
couple. I know, I'm so jealous as well. Okay, sexy blacksmith. Beaufort, write it down. Beaufort Pyroclasm. Now, Beaufort are a really interesting house. They celebrate British history, basically. A lot of extremely, if you like big fragrances, you're going to find some great ones there. But Pyroclasm is one of their new fragrances from the Force Majeure collection, and it celebrates heat, as in a furnace, and steel. Hello, sorry, how on the nose am I with this? And the soil, the craggy outcrops of Scotland. But it is... and the perfumer is Ewan McCall from Joram Studio, who are also here. It is absolutely incredible. It smells of heat. It smells of intense burning, but also the coldness of steel, and then being plunged into water, and that sizzle of a hot iron rod being plunged into cold water.
Suzy, we're in a church hall.
Sorry, I know. Should one talk of hot iron rods in church? I don't know. There's worse things in the Bible. It is absolutely incredible, and I've never smelled it. I smelled this at a fragrance fair in Florence last year, Petit Fragranze, which is a showcase for the industry. It stopped me in my tracks. It's one of the most extraordinary fragrances I've smelled because it has that duality throughout. So it smells hot and cold, both at the same time. A lot of fragrances sort of transition and you get that bright freshness there and it goes into the warmer notes. This one, you're just constantly, is it hot? Is it cold? Is it both? I don't know. So yeah, sexy blacksmith, Pyroclasm Beaufort.
You look excited.
He's excited. He's off now to smell it.
Okay, one more question, and
Yes.
then we'll see if anyone has any questions in the audience. And this is from Isabel Homer. Hi, Suzy and Nicola. I'm so excited to go to your talk. I've binged all your episodes since last September, and I'm officially a perfume addict now. I have a perfume prescription for you. One of my favourite things to do in the summer is take rosemary and just rub it into my skin if I find a plant while I'm walking around. It reminds me of Italian holidays in Umbria. And on a hot day, a healthy plant is so fragrant and rich with the oil. It is a really heavy feeling scent, but it doesn't last. What I'm looking for is a fragrance which evokes that heavy, warm summer feeling with really rich, oily rosemary as the main scent. I have a fern scent which contains rosemary as a note, which is a very light aromatic style, and it's just a hint within a mixture of other green and piney notes. It is really lovely, but doesn't always hit the spot on really hot days. Please help.
This is a little more challenging. You don't get a lot of fragrances that celebrate rosemary because it's such a dominant note. You know, if you crush rosemary in your hand, it is really strong. You get it sometimes within a fragrance composition. So from the brands at the fair, I think the best one to go for is Angela Flanders Hungary Water No. 3. So there's a collection. These are celebrating perhaps, you know, the oldest form of cologne fragrance that we know, but it's an eau de parfum formula. And in this one, it's really celebrating the rosemary in the top note, so you get that hit of rosemary. There's also some gorgeous notes in there like spearmint, jasmine, lemon balm, bergamot, Sicilian lemon, rose, neroli, petitgrain. But it is that bracing verdancy that you get, and the aromatic note of rosemary, I feel, is the most prominent in that. And it just revives you. I mean, there is all sorts of incredible studies being done about rosemary. You have in Shakespeare Rosemary for Remembrance. And now they've proved that certainly certain types of rosemary massively boost your ability to retain information. Like hugely. I was privileged enough to be at a talk where a scientist was going through his findings of this and the spike when people smelled this particular type of rosemary. So there is something in a lot of these old sayings, you know, that we find, and rosemary is one of those notes. So I think from the brands at the fair, definitely go and check out Angela Flanders, a beautiful British house. They've got the most incredible 2 boutiques, actually, in the East End, which is really worth travelling out for because it's like stepping back in time. And they've got an incredible array of fragrances. So I hope that's one of the ones they've brought with them today.
Oh, look at the dog.
The dog is asleep. We are not entertaining this dog, I have to say.
He can't hear us.
It's fine.
Oh. And thank you to Suzy, as ever, for her amazing prescriptions. I just don't know, you're brilliant. Brilliant.
Thank you very much.
So it is 10:15. I was in radio for a long time, and my internal timer goes,
I know.
We've got 10 minutes. Okay, does anyone want to ask us any questions? You can ask us anything, I mean, within reason. We have a roving mic.
A roving mic will visit
you. Happy to do
you.
it? Okay, thank you.
Hello, thank you so much for your talk. I didn't manage to put in a scent prescription, and this is a bit of a weird one, but I really love the smell of roast potatoes when they've just come out the oven. I know it's weird, but it's that like almost caramelized fat and fluffiness, and I really wanted something that smells not quite like burnt goose fat. But you know that comforting, warm potato-y.
Do you know, I'm going to recommend that you go to 4160 Tuesdays. I haven't got a particular scent in mind, but Sarah McCartney has that kind of mind where she will go, weird note, and she'll go, I know exactly. And she has got... so she used to work for Lush, and she wrote for the Lush Times, but she is so incredibly inventive, and she will come up with these incredible combinations that you just would never think of. So, and she particularly likes that caramelized note. So I know what you mean. I mean, who doesn't love the smell of a roast potato?
I want one. Does anyone want one now?
Right now.
I want a roast potato. Yum. An oily one. Yum.
Exactly. So I would go there as a starting point. And if she hasn't already got it, she could make it.
Do you know,
for
I was thinking that. I bet you
Yeah.
she'll make it for you, yeah.
Go to one of her workshops, actually. I mean, they're sold out today, but do have a look on the 4160 Tuesdays website, and she could guide you through making your own roast potatoes then. Watch this space, everyone.
Just don't make roast potatoes. Like my kids would just put it in a bottle for a few weeks and then say, Mummy, here you go.
No, I actually have a lot of her scents, so definitely a
Brilliant.
good recommendation. Thank you.
Good. Another question here in the front
Well,
row.
I love a bit of feedback.
I love it,
It's
love
only
it.
there, I think. Yes, it might be here as well. Hi, I have synesthesia around my sense of smell, so I can't. You know what? I'll just throw my voice.
Okay. Yeah, perfect.
I have synesthesia, so around my sense of smell, so I can't actually wear. I can't have a signature scent because it's to do with colour and texture. So I've decided to make myself a signature profile based on amber. And I wondered what your favourite amber fragrance was.
Oh, well, I mean, how long have we got left? Amber fragrances. I grew up loving amber fragrances. It was my first go-to when I was 9 years old, basically. That is not who Chanel Coco had in mind as their target audience, but it was me. Hello, I'm sorry. I knew I would. Talking of shoes again, we keep going back to shoes. Yeah. I knew it's a bit like a little girl walking around in your mum's glamorous high heels, and you're clip-clopping around in them, and you know they don't fit you, but you also know that one day they will.
They will,
and you're going to grow into them. And that's how I felt about fragrance. I would grow into it. So amber fragrances, adore. I mean, the one that And I know Alistair Park shares this love of mine, and Nicola kindly gave me a bottle of it. I mentioned it earlier, Chanel Le Lion. I just think that was exceptional. It came out at a time during lockdown when people were crying out for something that just rocked their world. Not just something that was nice, something that was extraordinary. And I think that fragrance was it for me. I know it made Alice cry.
It did.
You can watch a video of Alice crying about it if you so wish on her
it's do you know, even
Instagram.
just talking about it, it's one of those scents that you can smell it so... It's so powerful in my mind. Like, it's just there. It really does. Yeah. It's
I am
really
desperate,
moving.
by the way, for Chanel to bring out. Perhaps you could have a word with them, Alice. I think if you could have a word and say we need a whole body line around it.
Oh, can you imagine? A bath oil.
Coromandel body oil underneath Lilian, apparently. Okay, I'm immediately getting some.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you know what I was thinking as well? No, I always forget the name. Is it the amber supin of the primordial one? What is it? Their amber
something massif, yeah.
Amber massif, that's amazing as well.
Yeah,
That's
really good. I mean, I could go on for literally...
There's so many. But
it's my
no,
favourite
Lilian,
category.
Lilian.
That's the one that I think is the most extraordinary launch for me of recent years, but yeah.
Yeah. Anyone else? How are we doing, Amanda? 1 minute. Are you
One more
sorry,
question,
one more
thank
question.
God, the panic in the room.
Okay, stressful. I'm recently recovering from life-saving surgery, emergency life-saving surgery, and when I was in hospital, fragrance made such a difference. I dropped in Joe by Joe Loves, that was amazing, and I listened to the podcast a lot when I was in hospital. Since I came back, normally I'm sort of a gourmand, amber type person, but my fragrance profile has completely changed.
How interesting.
And I'm all about citrus now. And I rediscovered my 2005 Florist Pink Grapefruit, which I'm now obsessed with. And I'm just wondering, what else at the fair can I find in that sort of uplifting citrus profile to help with recovery?
Olfactivo? Or?
Yeah, Olfactivo citrus is incredible.
Gorgeous. Yeah.
It's a crystal lemon note, which I'd not smelled before, but I had at Olivia's house in a gin and tonic, and I can confirm, not the fragrance, the actual lemon.
She even drinks it.
Even drink it. It is an extraordinary note because there's a clarity to it, there's a coldness to it, and it lasts a huge amount of time as well. So the problem often with citrus fragrances, as I'm sure you find, they're quite fleeting because it's such a volatile note, it's such a volatile molecule that it evaporates really quickly. So it needs something something else in there to really ground it and make it long lasting. And she has really done that. And yet it is still sparkling and joyous. It makes me think of holding a glass of just poured champagne up to the sun and clinking that glass with your friend. And it's almost the sound of clinking champagne flutes and the sun and the laughter in the air is that fragrance for me.
And then I suppose if you wanted to soften it down, you could put skin under it.
It is
couldn't you?
amazing, layered with olfactive skin. That combination. So olfactive skin, as it sounds like, it is a skin fragrance, but it's warm, nuzzly, burying your nose into the crook of your lover's neck or into your own elbow for comfort. It is snuggly. It's a hug in a bottle. And those two layered together, that sparkle and then the warmth as well, is incredible.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Sounds perfect.
We're so glad you're here.
I know. Thank you.
It's my first
round
sort
of
of
applause
thing
for you
out.
as well. My goodness.
Well, I mean, hang on. What would be the end of the news? Da-da-da-da-da-da-da, bum, bum, bum. Thank you so much for coming to our tour.
Yeah, thank you, all of you.
And have the best day. This is going to be amazing. So, again, to Amanda and everyone, so much work has gone into this, and I just know you're going to have the best times.
Yes, thank you all. And don't forget to take your goodie bags on your chair.
And thank you to
KGA
who are
for
sponsoring.
Incredibly generous goodie bags. We know you're going to love exploring those. You can hear the excited rustling of paper as people delve in. And have a wonderfully fragrant day.